Joining us now, Fred Thiel, CEO of Marathon Digital, the largest publicly traded Bitcoin mining company, and Bitgo CEO Mike Belshe. Bitgo is the custodian for Hashdex's Bitcoin ETF. So Mike Belshe, I will start with you, given the fact that you are the custodian for one of these 11 ETFs that began trading today. How would you categorize the first day and the role that you're going to play with this ETF at a time where there's a lot of speculation that this new asset, this new investing instrument is going to bring more institutional players into the market?
Well, it's an exciting day for sure. Look, I think a lot has been said. Somewhere in the neighborhood of $3.5 billion of inflow into the various ETFs today, which I think is about in line with expectations, but this is just the beginning. You know, we've seen a lot of starts and stops with ETFs for Bitcoin over the years. So I think there's been some amount of let's wait and see what happens. Most institutions, I think, are still on the sidelines, and now they have a vehicle that's super easy for them to add to their portfolios. Those have been looking for something that operates under the traditional markets, have been waiting, and now it's here. So I think it's a huge day for Bitcoin.
Fred, how are you thinking about it, especially since there is a camp out there that sees these Bitcoin spot ETFs as now competitors to equities that have a Bitcoin focus, such as Marathon, and have seen such big runs in those stocks in recent months?
Well, I think, and I've said this many times before, people who want more beta love things like the miners, because similar to in the gold industry, when the price of the commodity goes up, our cost to produce doesn't necessarily go up. So in an up market, you typically see the miner stocks outperforming Bitcoin. In a down market, they underperform Bitcoin. I think what you're seeing today, for example, is the miners across the board, even MicroStrategy, saw outflows. You saw a lot of selling as people either were repositioning into ETFs or simply believing that the ETFs would cause miners and MicroStrategy to go down in value, and so people shorted it. And you could see in the tape, really, there was a quick drop and then it leveled out during the course of the day. So I think this is something you're going to see some rebalancing back and forth, but I think we're going to be back to business as usual relative to the performance of miners versus MicroStrategy versus spot Bitcoin and the spot Bitcoin ETFs once things settle out over the next 30 to 45 days.
Mike, in light of this big moment for Bitcoin with the spot ETFs, I got to go back to basics, because the trading in Bitcoin over years seems very emotional to me. And the narrative has gone from it's like gold to now it's a risk asset, like a meme stock, now back to it's like gold. It's like you should own it because it moves. But what is it now? If people are going to add this to their portfolios, they should treat it like what?
Well, look, it's an asset which is free of tampering from the governments. It's independent of inflation, et cetera. Now, it's been a small asset, right? It just got started. It's a brand new technology. It turns everything upended. And so we're going to see a lot of change. Those that are interested in the volatility because they like to trade, well, okay, maybe that's a bit like gambling. But for the long term, the reason Bitcoin keeps winning, despite all of the claims that it's only for gambling.
It doesn't keep winning. Like people who bought it at 60-something are still losing. So what does it move based on, I guess, is my question. Like, yeah, okay, it's a scale. Just about everything you can get is an asset. A house you bought in 2007 was an asset, but it wasn't a good buy. What kind of an asset is it?
Look, Bitcoin has outperformed every other asset class over the last 10 years. So to say that it's failed simply because it had a high that was higher than it is today is just a misrepresentation of what it's at. The reason it's important is because the supply is fixed. It's not tamperable. So when you buy into Bitcoin, you're buying into something where the rules are completely understood and it's fair for everybody, from the smallest retail investor to the largest institution.